may have visited us tonight.
There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder.
You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Soothing, isn't it?
Well, you realize, of course, that we'd have to have a body to put in that casket.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a spooky edition of the Argo City podcast with Maddie.
She's so amusing.
And Matthew.
Imbecile, bombastic ignoramus.
And we have returned!
It is still spooky season. We are still surrounded by zombies.
Yay!
And I'm taking you just a little bit beyond.
Into the future!
And that's really the thing, because like Romero's trilogy, I mean, it's night, dawn, and day. And then 20 years passed. And then we get Land of the Dead. Now, it bears mentioning that the reboot, the remake of Dawn of the Dead, is 2004. Land of the Dead is 2005. I cannot believe those two things are not related.
Yeah.
So he saw there's a market. He saw that we can do this. And really, I think a lot of people looked at Land of the Dead and like, okay, so is this like a sequel to remake Dawn of the Dead? Aesthetically, it feels like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in the way that the storytelling is done and in how, the zombies are.
It's oversaturated. It's very modern zombie.
It's dark.
And it's Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, who both worked on Day of the Dead. So they're back. And then, of course, also Greg Nicotero we mentioned this last week, he's in charge of the zombies on The Walking Dead. Yeah. Which, that's still another 5 years away.
Really? It feels so much less time than that.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, Land of the Dead, you could argue that Land of the Dead is one of those things that kicked it off, that gave us the opportunity to. I mean, the comics are running, I think, at this point, but the TV show will not start until 2010. But this feels, and that's one of the things I said last week, Day of the Dead. We're going to put you into a little bit more of a comfort zone. This feels more like the zombies that you know.
Yeah,
I think Land of the Dead really does. Yeah,
you've got the whole concept with noise, and you've got your supply runs. You've got it feels a lot more alive, a lot more normal to me.
They're even calling them walkers. I mean, they frequently call them stenches as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mostly heard stenches.
But they do refer to them as walkers a couple of times.
Huh. Okay, I admit I didn't catch that.
See, I did because I was thinking about, that's Walking Dead. And Walking Dead hasn't happened yet. So that really made an impression on me. The other thing, though, too, is that we get, you mentioned like supply runs and stuff like that. So,
but actually, I kind of want to just talk about that.
Yeah,
we've got supply runs in a different format. In a lot of shows, like I'm going to reference The Walking Dead, for example.
Well, Walking Dead's probably going to be the one that this is the most like at this point.
But in The Walking Dead, we're sending 2 or 3 people off to go and get supplies for the group. We have big organizations, big powerful people sending them, and we have powerful people sending them on these supply runs, paying them for it.
Yeah,
and that's different. We also, kind of like what you said, we have big teams of people. Usually in a lot of shows, you've got maybe a group of 3 or the whole group is going. So it's like...
Right, no, we've got an organization here. And you mentioned when we were watching, you're watching through some of the Walking Dead, you're in the Woodbury.
Yes, I
section.
just hit the end of season 3.
I mean, we saw them start to reorganize themselves in The Walking Dead into civilization. So some of that's Woodbury. Some of that is the saviors. Some of that's Alexandria and stuff like that. So there's a couple of them. So I guess, I mean, it's not completely out of the question that such a thing might happen.
Yeah,
we're seeing it on a grander scale, I think.
We're seeing it on the scale to the point where people are reverting back to power classes and social classes.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what wasn't the whole point of this world being rewritten so we didn't have to deal with that anymore?
Well, maybe. And let me digress for just a moment, because I don't want to go overboard with the politics on here. But the politics are very much infused into this. And Romero is infusing a lot of his political ideals into this. And a lot of those are the opposite of some of mine. Land of the Dead really turned me off the first time that I watched it, because it's so obsessed with the idea of class warfare. And I think undeservedly so. But that's who Romero was. That's what he believed in. So I get why he's pushing that.
Honestly, I find it a lot more interesting seeing the class dissertation and such.
The interpersonal relationships, yeah.
I mean, we literally have a guy that's been sucking up to this big billionaire, and it's like he bites him in the butt like they all do. And it's like, dude, did you not learn anything from before?
But I mean, it's so on the nose. It's like, oh, I don't think we want your type in here. And I don't deny that some sorts of discrimination or even racism exist, but they're far more subtle or insidious than that when they do. They're not overt like that, and it's such a blunt hammer. Romero actually would hang out on the set with our big business guy. That's Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper was a big deal in the 70s. And they'd lament the fact that, man, we were both hippies back in the day. What happened? Why didn't it work? Well, it didn't work because human nature doesn't work like that. Human nature needs to strive. Human nature is not set up for that sort of everybody loves, everybody gives, we need that sort of kind of carrot and stick. We need the risk reward, which really is a lot of what we see in our guys on the ground.
Yeah, they're at one point they go out of their way even after the sky flowers stop. They
the fireworks.
Yeah, they go into a booze shop and get booze because they can sell it for a lot of money.
Yeah, like a bottle of whiskey, basically a bottle of Jack, Tennessee whiskey.
I'm not old enough to drink yet, so I don't know what that means.
And you know what? I'm not entirely even certain what, a bottle that's what, $20, I think, $15, and it's going for $1,500.
Yeah.
And I mean, but then again, okay, so, distilling, that's a thing. That's a skill. And it might be lost. I don't doubt that there's people out there with stills, but those are the rednecks that are up in the hills with their shotguns. That's not the folks up in the city. So it makes sense that those kind of luxuries are, even when I was watching The Walking Dead every week with Mom, I would yell at the screen, where are they getting the cigarettes from? Daryl is constantly lighting up. Where are you getting those Marlboros from? Because the corner store does not exist any longer.
Yeah, I'd be like, I could understand if you got a ton of them in bulk, whenever you hit up the supermarket. But even then, addicts are going to get there first, not you.
I would understand if they were growing tobacco. Tobacco's not hard to grow. Then you dry it, you crumble it, you find some. But those are not. I've seen what rolled cigarettes look like. We watched The Maltese Falcon a while back, and Humphrey Bogart is constantly rolling cigarettes in that.
Yeah, it's been a
Your
while,
Uncle James was rolling cigarettes for a while.
Oh.
And they do not look like that. So it's like, where is this stuff coming from?
And it's like, I want to immediately say, even just in general, I don't understand the whole thing with, smoking in the zombie movies. I get it. It's supposedly, a way to release tension. Legitimately, a few days ago, I work fast food, and I was up front doing orders like I usually do, and a guy walks in and he has a cigarette like still kind of lit like behind his ear. He didn't realize it was still lit because I pointed out like, sir, you can't smoke in here. The minute that they came up front, I'm just like, oh my god, that is such a bad smell. And I felt so bad. I like tapped the manager on the shoulder and I was like, can I go to the back? Even after he left, that stench still stays there. And I'm like, can I go to the back? I need to get out of here for a minute.
See, Gen Xers, we grew up where everybody smoked and everybody smoked everywhere. You would go to the roller rink, for teenagers, and there'd be a smoking room. There were ashtrays in McDonald's.
Yeah,
I would go to the bowling alley with my father a couple of times a month.
Yeah, you told me you used to like hang out in the arcade.
Yeah, and you know what? The smell of a cigar actually is a very visceral smell to me.
It
gives
me such a headache.
I kind of like it because it just brings me back to that time and place. So it's not a bad thing to not get, but I get where they're coming from. And Romero smoked like a chimney, so it's also got a dramatic look to it. And I'll tell you that's actually something about smoking. Even with cigarette smokers, you will discover that most people don't smoke in the dark.
That's true. I remember, like, back in the old days, people tried to at least kind of hide it, but no, it's just out in the open. You're
not going to go into a darkened room, and part of it is the hypnotism of the shapes. It's just the shapes in the smoke, the way that it drifts, and that's part of what makes it dramatic as well. It's part of what makes it cinematic. It's one of the things. It's a really dramatic thing to see on celluloid. So, I mean, that's my best reasoning for you on that, more than anything. Speaking of dramatic, we get some great scenes here. We get some great imagery here. You were talking about like the zombies coming up and coming out of the water.
We see them slowly dip their heads out of the water as we get a overhead shot of all of them following this one particular zombie. And I'm like, just do me one tiny favor. Pan the camera up so we see the city in the background. And then you would have one of the best zombie scenes like ever. But they don't do that. They're lazy.
I don't know if it's that they're lazy. I bet that they're in a water tank.
I know. I figured. I'm just saying it's annoying because it would have been so cool if they just panned it up as they're walking.
It would have been. But I mean, that'd probably be like Yuri because they're shooting in Canada. Actually, it'd be like Erie if they were still shooting in Pittsburgh, I guess. But Romero wanted to shoot in Pittsburgh, but ended up in Canada just because everything was cheaper. He got better tax breaks there for whatever reason. But I'll tell you what. So our main building where all the rich people are hiding out in Fiddler's Green. I'm looking at that, and for the first time, I'm actually really looking at it, and I can tell why he's chosen that building, or I don't know if it's real or CGI, but it looks a lot like the PPG building in downtown Pittsburgh, with those tall spires that go beyond the roof, like a castle. This is a building that you will pass by anytime that you drive through Pittsburgh. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way. This is a building that I would pass by every time that I drive through Pittsburgh, and you can't miss it. In fact, back in the day when Tim Burton was trying to do his Superman movie, we watched the documentary on that. So that building was supposed to be LexCorp.
Oh, that's so cool.
Kevin Smith had actually blown into town for another movie, and he was trying to rent it for some shots in his film. Like, nope, it's reserved. You can't use it. What's it reserved for? That's going to be LexCorp and Superman. No way!
No, that's amazing. I love that. And, even just talking about the whole buildings, I want to talk about these zombies. Because one of the major things that I at least pointed out when we started is, these zombies are learning. They are. We have the one dark skinned guy. He's like,
that's Big Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy. Sorry, his brain clicks, and then we see the other zombies watch him, and their brain clicks as well. And it's like, these zombies are picking up weapons. These zombies are thinking, and I'm kind of scared.
I mean, we get hints of that, though, with Bub back in Day of the Dead last week.
That's true,
So
but his took months,
It
though.
did, and somebody was actually teaching him. So it's 20 years later.
Yeah.
By the way, Bub's still around. We see him at the very beginning.
He's in the liquor store. The poor guy just wanted a drink.
And he jumps out at Cholo, and he gets it through the head. So we know the final destination of Bub. But then again, this is deliberate. That's something that Romero's doing to tie us back to the original trilogy. I mean, Tom Savini shows up as he's a zombie now, but he was one of the bikers in Dawn of the Dead in the original. So it's that same character, and he's now a zombie. So we are constantly calling back. Romero is trying to firmly place us in the same universe, and yet he stubbornly refuses to tell us how much time has elapsed when all of this happened.
Yeah, and it's like, even with these zombies, like, we've got, when we see in the city, we see all sorts of people of all separate ages. We see children, and that's actually something that I want to talk to you about, is the idea, especially of kids in the zombie apocalypse. One of my best examples is, as I've said this multiple times, but I played the Walking Dead video games, and we follow Clementine during a lot of that. During, I believe it's season 2 specifically, one of the women, she's pregnant, and she gives birth to a baby. That baby grows up to be, what was his name? It was, give me a second, it's not TJ, it's, I forget his name. But he's always lived in the world of the apocalypse. When we skip on to season 4, when they reunite, it's legitimately, he knows nothing but it. And I think that that's such a fascinating thing, especially generational-wise.
Well, they did a couple of years of that on The Walking Dead, too, on one of the episodes one of the series that Mom watched. But that was something else I was kind of pointing out here, that there are people that we see, some of these people that are running away, some of these people that are running the bus, some of these people, our heroine. I looked at you and said, how old do you think she is? And you're like 20, maybe early 30s. I'm like, has she ever known a world that wasn't the zombie apocalypse? Because, I mean, she was basically, she grew up, she was groomed and placed, and
Pretty much, yeah.
And that was it. By the way, that's Aja Argento. Now, I know you don't know that name.
I do not know that name.
Give me a second here. Aja is the daughter of Dario Argento. You don't know that name either.
I do not know that name either.
Because I didn't raise you on Italian horror or giallo. Dario is like one of the masters of horror and horror mystery in Italy.
Okay.
But what Dario is also a longtime associate of George Romero. So when Dawn of the Dead came out, Dario, he provided, like, okay, I'm the one I'm going to release this in Italy. So money changed hands as well. Yeah. In fact, he changed the name to Zombie, and then he rescored the whole thing too with like his.
That's right. You told me about this a while ago.
Yeah. So he rescored it with his house band Goblin.
Yeah.
I was delighted to go. I've seen them perform. It's weird to watch this band. It's still legitimately a rock band, but 2 keyboards. Oh. And I sprung for the meet and greet so that I could have them all sign my Dawn of the Dead poster.
Of course you did. What was their reaction to that?
Oh, they liked it. They knew, because I mean they're playing when they played pieces of the score and songs from it. They're playing scenes on a screen above them. Same thing. Screens from Deep Red or from Suspiria, and all of this great stuff that they've done. I don't know what those are. Well, and you know what? Some of those are not your thing. Suspiria, even like the Three Mothers trilogy, is a little bit out there for me. Ugh. So
that definitely says something.
But so Aja is Dario's daughter, and she's an actress on her own right, and she's done a lot of horror, a lot of his stuff. Then again, Romero's daughter shows up as one of the soldiers too, so it's kind of cool to see that happen in there.
Now, it's always always fun when you get, like, your children involved. I remember I saw a post a while back talking about how, like, on Love Island, since you're, like, out there filming for months at a time, a lot of times they'll bring their families with them, and then you'll see these teenagers and children running around, and they're helping film stuff. They are, like, interacting. Like, a lot of times the adults will be like, why are there so many kids here?
We've also got John Leguizamo as Cholo, as the he's the guy who hijacks the bus, who hijacks Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
And I love John Leguizamo. I've watched him in a ton of different stuff. I think I first saw him in the Spawn movie, but he does an excellent role in Romeo and Juliet and that's the one you've seen.
Oh yeah, the
He's
live
Tybalt
action
in
one.
that.
That
Yeah,
was terrible.
That is not terrible. It's brilliant.
I didn't like it.
Well, that we need to have a talk about. No, it's brilliant. He's Sid in Ice Age. He's the sloth.
I was like, wait a minute.
And then you start hearing the voice. But I mean, this kind of stuff is what he does. So the cartoons bring in the money, but this is what he does, or at least it's what I think of him with. And just for a minute, Phil Fonderico shows up. He's a little person.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. What are you doing here?
So what do you know him from? Because I know what I know. I know all the stuff I know him from.
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I've seen his face a lot.
Yeah, and that's fair because he's like been in everything. And I forget that he's in it because he has such a small part, if you'll forgive the pun.
Oh my god. But you know what? Actually, I did want to go back to zombies there for a second, just because it's something that I've been kind of chewing on. Especially when we see these zombies and they're like picking up weapons.
Well, some of them are weapons, some of them are not, and some of them they don't know how to use.
Yes, but like we see I think you said it was Big Daddy. Big Daddy.
Pick up a gun.
He does. He picks up a gun. And first of all, he knows how to sling it on him so that it's an easy reach. And then, like a minute later, he knows how to shoot it. What is this zombie's backstory? Because he is but let me finish though.
I mean, he's old enough to be a veteran.
Yes, but he is wearing a gas station uniform, which people wearing their uniforms isn't unusual in the apocalypse. But we see him like pouring gas and stuff, but also he's aware of how to use a gun. Maybe he's a veteran, or what if he's a survivor that got turned? I
mean, it's possible. That's Eugene Clark. Now, Eugene Clark is a frequent guest at conventions and stuff, and really, I think that's a question to ask him, because he loves it. He's into it. And like I said, he's constantly trying. When Eugene Clark shows up at a convention, he shows up in costume.
Oh, good.
He has the overalls. He'll probably be dressed up as the zombie itself.
Aww.
So a lot of times actors will write up their backstory. They'll write up a character sketch so they understand better who they're playing.
I've heard that. Like, someone wrote an entire book based off a character that they were playing. I forget who, but someone did that.
I wonder if he's done that, because I think he'd be the person to ask. I really do. If anybody would know, he would know. I don't think Romero thought that through as much. Romero was great about just kind of giving you leave to do whatever you can.
Yeah.
But Big Daddy is an actual character. I mean, there's some acting going on here.
Where does this name Big Daddy come from?
It's just the name. It's just what they called him on set. It's what the name is. If you look him up on IMDb, that's what you're going to see. He's a large man.
Okay, sure. That seems like such a random name.
It's just what it is. But I think in fact, I think he'd probably know better than Romero did. So yeah, if I run into him again, I will have to ask him about that.
Yeah, you'll have to do that.
That's on my list, because like next time I run into George Russo, who helped write Night of the Living Dead, we need to talk about Ben's kids. And so now, if I see Eugene again, we need to talk about what were you before. I thought it was also interesting that just kind of like what we're looking at. Look at the society they've created. It's the Romans would call it bread and circuses. to keep people amused, to keep people distracted.
And this kind of, like, they have take a picture with the zombie or see the zombies fight each other, and I'm just like, why are we doing... I'm literally watching this in Woodbury right now, and I'm like, why?
But I mean, and you know, you're watching it in Woodbury right now.
Legitimately,
there's something about human nature. We demand entertainment to distract us from the horrors that are from the horrors beyond. The horrors persist, but so do I.
Oh my gosh. But no, like, I don't understand why people can... I don't understand how that keeps happening in society.
It's just human nature. You've got to... from my perspective, we buy too much into this idea that humans are basically good. Humans are not basically good. And you watch any baby, and you watch any 2-year-old, they're basically selfish. That's our fundamental human nature, and we revert to it. But that's also part of why, like, I'm not certain I buy the class system reestablishing itself, reasserting itself, just because it's more about, in this case, are you useful? Can you do something? Kind of like what you were saying last week about if you're not useful, you get left behind sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I kind of feel you there. I mean, even if we do have, like, kind of going back to Woodbury again, even if you do have a huge civilization of people, typically you've got one leader and you have everybody else that follows.
Well, and you know what? As evil as Dennis Hopper is because he's a racist, and even there, I'm not... He did wall off the city. He did protect these people.
Yeah, but did he protect it for the people or for himself, though?
Well, does it matter? Because he still did create a society and protect those people. And I don't buy... This is where my suspension of disbelief does wear a little thin. I don't buy that he's as stupid as they show him to be.
He does act a little dumb.
He's very short-sighted. He's still about paper money. And...
Yeah, I would have figured at this point we would have moved on from paper money.
Yeah, we would have been in a barter system.
Yeah.
But also, like, when he shoots zombies, he's got that nice little gun, nice little pocket gun.
Shoot for the life of him!
Well, it's not that he can't shoot. It's that, where does he shoot? He shoots at the trunk, at the center mass.
Oh my god, that's right. He's shooting, like, in the heart.
We've been doing this for 20 years. He's kept those people safe for 20 years.
You literally, like, oversee the army. How
do you not know? Shoot him in the head. The rednecks in Night of the Living Dead, the backwater country townspeople, the sheriff who's got bullets on his strap that are too big for his gun, still knows, shoot him in the head. Beat him or burn him, they go up pretty easy.
Like,
you don't create an empire like this without having intelligence.
Yeah, how...
So this is again where Romero's politics grate on me a little bit. It's what makes this is not one of my favorites. It's not one of the ones I like the most. But I'll tell you what, it's probably been 10 years since I've seen it. And they popped it up at 12 Hours of Terror a year or two ago. I'm like, you know what? This doesn't suck. And if we're going to do the Romero movies, we should include it.
Yeah, this one is definitely unique compared to the other ones, and I definitely feel like it's one that we needed to add.
It's almost more of an action film than it is a horror film.
Yeah, it's like
they jump scare you plenty.
Yeah,
but it is a...
And like even these, it's not even really horror. It's more so the zombie's gonna jump out of the dark and bite you, and then you're dead. And it's like they move on so fast. Like
they really do. This thing does not waste time. They do not let the grass grow under their feet.
Definitely not. No.
I wanted to ask you one other thing, though, too. So, we've got our main character. We've got Riley, the dude. They call him Dembo. And then we've got his sidekick, Charlie.
Yeah.
And Charlie is a little slow. Charlie's he's a little mentally handicapped. Although, sometimes he's almost a savant.
Yeah.
As far as shooting. You know, he can pick a zombie off in the dark over your shoulder and be disappointed that he didn't get them dead center in the forehead. I mean, Charlie's making himself useful.
Yeah.
Is this of Mice and Men? You read that a couple of years ago. You read that in your last year of high school, and they showed you the movie. Yes.
Oh, okay. I read that junior year, not senior year.
Okay.
Sorry.
Time runs faster the older that we get. So, is this of Mice and Men though? Is this that story? Because at some points I'm wondering.
I don't think so. At least the first thing that really comes to mind is, so little guy, he is the one like leading all the interactions.
Yep, Burgess Meredith.
Big guy doesn't, I mean, he helps a little bit, but he doesn't really do anything that actually helps the group.
No, you're right. He's
the sidekick. He's there to be there. He's there for the ride. He's there for a good time. He's not really all that useful.
Whereas Charlie actually is. And Riley literally says, Charlie saved my life just as many times as I saved his.
And it almost even brings me back to the whole idea of, like, neurodivergence and all of, like, those mental disorders in the apocalypse. Because I've seen a lot of stuff online that says, like, you want neurotypical people or neurodivergent people in the apocalypse because we are great under stress. We are amazing at that kind of stuff. But then we're also like, we're going to die because we're going to forget to shut the back door. So, I appreciate the inclusion there. It's a little on the nose, but I appreciate the inclusion.
A lot of this is a little on the nose, and that's maybe its greatest weakness. And Romero...
They could have been a bit more respectful about it.
Romero does 2 more movies after this, and they're both, from all reports, they're both absolutely terrible. To the point where it's like I never even sought them out. They didn't get a theatrical release. But
straight to DVD.
I wanted to stick with this one because it kind of feels like it belongs. In a lot of ways, this is the last big goodbye for Romero, even if he did a few others. No, this is the one that had people flocking to be in it. I mean, if you were a fan, if you were into horror, you were going to come out and happily take the $9 an hour to be a zombie extra. I've spoken to some of those extras. It's like, it's freezing cold, and we're supposed to be like opening up a body, but the fake blood is dried, frozen, and I'm just breaking my fingernails. But man, it's worth it to see George up there on the crane with the loudspeaker giving us direction. So this really is that last glorious effort from Romero, and it's the way I want to remember him.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's lovely.
And I love George. George was a great guy. He was a warm guy. He absolutely loved it when I showed up. Like I met him a couple of times, sometimes normal, and at one point I showed up as a zombie. And like, okay, when you take the photo, I'm going to just wait until I start leaning over and start attacking him to eat him before you take the photo. And he's grinning ear to ear on this.
Oh, that's so nice.
And that's, like I said, that's really where I want to end our trip through Romero. You've seen the movies, the films that matter.
Yeah, I've seen all the zombie stuff.
You have, although you know what? There's still kind of one hanging on, and we will. We're gonna get to it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I did mention that this is 2005, but a year earlier, we have the only one of the remakes that matters. So.
Oh no.
It'll be next week for us. In like real time, but for those of you in podcast land, it's going to be a few months down the road.
A few months?
Yeah, because we got to get through some Studio Ghibli stuff here too.
Yes, for my Studio Ghibli takeover. Woo!
But Dawn of the Dead, the remake, is still on the list, and we're going to explore that maybe sooner than you think. In the meantime, we're going to see you all next week with a far less spooky edition of the Argo City podcast.
Bye!